In the meantime, let's get to the Cowboys because this is Get Up. Brian Schottenheimer, the new head coach, wasted little time adding a notable, well-known piece to his coaching staff. Yesterday, they announced the hiring of former Bears head coach Matt Eberflus as their defensive coordinator. He knows the Cowboys. He was their linebackers coach from 2011 through 2017. He's been a defensive coordinator or head coach for 7 years in the NFL. Outside of his first season in Chicago, his defenses have been good, specifically his time in Indy as their defensive coordinator. Colts generally inside the top half of the league in scoring and total defense. Obviously, the fan base is not thrilled about all of these recent hires, and Jerry Jones says he gets it.
I understand that, and I'm mad at me right now, but that's not the issue. Is what are we going to do about it?
Why are you mad at you?
I'm the best man to do something about it. So that's where it goes.
Okay, so here's the thing. The conversation, I was thinking about this yesterday. Why are you making that face?
Were you listening?
Exactly.
Like it's like words pop up and he lets them come out.
I know.
And sometimes you got to organize them and check and then proofread it and then say it.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
I'm mad at me.
I got us here. I'm mad at me because I got us here, but I'm going to fix it. I'm the guy.
But here's the reality of it. People sometimes look at a situation and just start poking holes in what has happened. That's easy to do. Here's the reality. There's nothing obviously wrong with hiring Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach. He's just not Deion Sanders, which is what everybody was hoping would happen. There's nothing wrong with hiring Matt Eberflus as your defensive coordinator. He got a very bad reputation for doing a very bad job as head coach of the Bears, but he can coach a defense. The Cowboys aren't getting all that stuff wrong. If Jerry Jones says, I'm the right person to figure it out, I'm going to give him the one way he can do this. The one thing he's gotten wrong, going back over all of these 29 years since free agency since they were last in the NFC Championship game and free agency was in its infancy, the Cowboys have to play in the free agent market the way all the other NFL teams do. We told you yesterday, they don't spend any money in free agency ever. It is an organizational philosophy, and it doesn't work. They have averaged over the last pretty much decade 27th out of 32 teams in free agent spending. They believe in drafting, developing, and paying their own guys. That's fine, happens not to work. If there's one thread of commonality among all these years, it's not just that it's Jerry, it's this philosophy. They've drafted great. They've drafted great players. They've paid the guys when they were supposed to. They're getting so much of it right. It's not the coach, it's not the coaches. It is that little extra that a free agent gives you, whether it's Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, like really big ones, or even other ones that most fans wouldn't notice. That's where they're missing, and that's something they can change right now.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I was texting with Marcus Spears about this the other day, and he brought up that Deion Sanders was a free agent signing. Charles Haley was a free agent signing back when they were winning Super Bowls. So it's not something that they hated. At the onset of free agency, they were comfortable with it. Why they're not doing it now, I don't know. And I think free agency, the draft, which they do well, you kind of want to do best available. And then you use free agency to fix your hole. So I'm not saying that you always have to go for the big free agent splash, but you do have to be aggressive in free agency. And that speaks to your point. It's like they draft well enough to get to a certain point. And then getting over that point, they don't have the talent to take
They traded back and took Micah Parsons. They drafted CeeDee Lamb. They drafted Dak Prescott in the 4th round. They drafted the great offensive lineman who's old now from Notre Dame.
My cousin.
They draft quite well, actually. They need to supplement, as all the other successful teams in the NFL do. And the answer to the test is sitting right in front of them.
Well, that's what Jerry said. He said, I'm the guy. I can do it.
That's my point. He can do it.
Yes, you are the guy because you got to add the players. Like, that's your job. And even last year, I mean, the same issues they had throughout the season and where we sit now in this offseason are the same issues they had the previous year in the previous offseason. And Eberflus coming in, he is a great defensive coordinator. You talked about even the 1 year in Chicago, he wasn't calling the plays when they were down. He took over, and then he got them back to a top 10 defense. So you have the right guy, but Zimmer was also a great defensive coordinator. Actually, in Dallas and beyond, one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history. But the reality is, the D in Big D stands for defensive tackle. And if you don't have that or fill that void, you're not going to be able to stop the run.
So here's the thing. What you are saying makes 100% sense, Greeny. But to do what you are saying means that you have to have roster objectivity. And even coming into this season, Jerry Jones said, we have all the pieces. Like we don't need a Derrick Henry, we didn't need a Saquon. Like we've got all the pieces, and that is part of the problem. Jerry overinflates what he's looking at, and that means he's not going to go and spend a ton of money or spend any money.
So glad you mentioned Derrick Henry. Cindy, when we can get the full screen that was in the A's about the Cowboys-Eagles disparity, please let me know, and let's pop that up as soon as you can. So Jerry Jones told us last offseason we didn't need Derrick Henry.
Right.
Well, here, Jerry, is the proof that you did.
Right.
The Philadelphia Eagles, your nemesis, rushed for 7 touchdowns on Sunday. Your Dallas Cowboys, without Derrick Henry, rushed for 6 touchdowns this season.
Yes.
That should be proof. If a person is being intellectually honest with their circumstance,
It's wild.
I got that wrong. I can change it. He is the right person to change it. He can do it. Go out and spend. Derrick Henry was so much cheaper than most of the players that got.
To be there.
I'm just mad that the Commanders catching strays during this. I thought we just supposed to bash the Cowboys right now. Commanders gave up 7 tutties on the ground in one game.
And that doesn't count the one that he threw for.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm making, though, is this is actually a solvable problem.
Yeah,
it's right there in front of you. He has the ability to change it.
Here is the problem. It has been solvable for 29 years, and the behavior has not changed. And I said this about Mike McCarthy is you don't equip a coach to be successful in this game by the way that you have to arm them and equip them to be successful. Whether it's Schottenheimer, who I think is a very good coach, Eberflus is a good coach, but your responsibility as the owner / general manager is to put the roster together. He has not done it.
Not using free agency is trying to win with one hand tied behind you.
That's right.
Like everyone else has access to a pool that you're not willing
And
to.
watching the Eagles, you're literally watching in your own division that formula working.
Yeah,
and the Commanders.
Two teams in your division were in the NFC Championship game. Coming up, we'll talk.
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just wanted to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.